Hello everyone, this is Doomguy. A very popular request I see frequently on social media and Discord is, can someone show me a build for a stealth commando?
The rules have changed. There's a fine line between right and wrong. And somewhere in the shadows, they send us in to find it.
Want you to 6 Actual. Target is in the main house. You have execute authority.
Bravo 6. Going dark.
Do keep in mind everyone's builds differ from one person to the next. The build setup I'm about to show you might differ from someone else's preferences to even your own. To also note, builds also typically are not solely based on perk cards, but also the gear, buffs, and debuffs you are utilizing. I highly recommend building your character around what you, the viewer, want to use and enjoy. However, I will be more than happy to share with you my Scout Commando build, and hopefully you can use it as a reference point. Firstly, I will go over my legendary perk card setup. The cards I prefer to use are Strength, Endurance, Charisma, Intelligence, Agility, and Luck, all at max rank. The reason I utilize these perks is because I like the utility each of these bring. Having these cards allows me to move and transfer special points wherever I may need with little repercussion, and it opens up a variety of cards for me to utilize. Now I'll go over my general special setup. This build is primarily for full health builds. First we will start with Strength. Typically I will utilize Traveling Pharmacy and Bandolier. The reason for these cards is because they both decrease the weight of my chem consumables and ballistic munitions. Moving on to Perception, depending on whether I'm using a VATS build or ADS build, I will utilize the following: Commando, Expert Commando, Master Commando, Tank Killer, and Ground Pounder or Concentrated Fire. The Commando perks and Tank Killer perks will boost my damage of my automatic rifle, and depending on whether or not I am using VATS or ADS. Ground Pounder will increase my weapon's reload and accuracy, and Concentrated Fire will allow me to target specific limbs during VATS. I typically have all my cards at max rank. Next I will cover Endurance. This setup will be for out of power armor, as stealthing has a higher efficiency than being in power armor. Under most cases I use Life Giver rank 3, Fireproof, Adamantium Skeleton, and Ironclad rank 4. These perks generally help with my survivability, not only mitigating various damage types, but also giving me more health points and ballistic and energy damage resistance points, and preventing me from having broken limbs. For Charisma, I typically run Travel Agent, Strange in Numbers, Tenderizer, Field Surgeon, and Lone Wanderer, or if on a team, Bodyguard. Travel Agent will decrease the amount of caps I spend on fast traveling, which is more of just a convenience tool than anything. Strange in Numbers will increase the effectiveness of my mutations, Field Surgeon with the speed of my stim packs, and depending if I am playing a Lone Wanderer, which increases my action point regeneration and increases my damage mitigation. If I'm on a team, I typically run Bodyguard as it increases my team's ballistic and energy damage resistances. Intelligence is mostly preference based. There are a substantial amount of utility perks in here you can use, but there's really only one damage increasing perk that is dependent on your weapon. That will be Demolitions Expert. However, in most cases I rarely run an explosive rifle setup because in my opinion, it is not as effective as perks such as Fire Rate or VATS 50 Crit. So, under Intelligence I typically run First Aid, Batteries Included, Scrapper, and Gunsmith. Batteries Included is mostly if I ever have to enter power armor and I still want to benefit from VATSing, if that is the playstyle I choose to use. Agility is pretty quirky to work with as there are a lot of good perks that come out of there. However, you can only choose and pick specific ones up to 15 points, so choose how you want to. For myself, I typically run Action Boy, Through Hiker, Covert Operative, Sneak, and Gun Fu. Action Boy increases my action point regeneration, Through Hiker lowers the weight of my food and drink consumables, Covert Operative increases my sneak damage, Sneak increases my sneak effectiveness, and Gun Fu, which automatically swaps target on kill and increases your damage. If I do not carry a large amount of consumables, I will typically swap out Through Hiker for Adrenaline, which also increases my damage per kill. Luck will be the deciding factor in most cases on how you wish to play. whether you choose to utilize VATs or spend more time aiming down sights. Typically, I run a VAT setup. I will run Bloody Mess, Better Criticals, Critical Savvy, Class Freak, Starch Genes, and 1 point of 4-leaf Clover. Bloody Mess increases my damage at a flat rate, Better Criticals increases the damage of my critical shots from VATs, Critical Savvy consumes only part of my critical strike meter, Class Freak reduces the negative effects from my mutations, and Starch Genes will make it so I can no longer be mutated or lose my mutations from rataways. Gear and weapons will be entirely up to you, the viewer, whether you choose to use leather, scout, secret service, or others. That is up to you, as most if not all armor comes with ways to increase your sneak effectiveness and will have associating legendary effects. For me personally, I run a mixed set of covert scout armor. However, all pieces have increased action point regeneration, as I like the regeneration rate of my action points. The Covert Scout set also has the innate effect to increase your sneak in dark areas, whether it is open world, during the night, and inside instances and dungeons. For my choice of weapon, I am solidly an anti-armor user. I prefer this not just because its utility is good in almost every situation, but is also the most realistic. Typically, I will utilize the Fixer as the primary weapon of choice simply due to the innate effect it provides for sneaking. As for various buffs and debuffs, I will really only cover my mutation setup. I use this setup for all of my builds and only make one change, and that is if I run a melee setup. My mutations consist of Bird Bones, Carnivore, Eagle Eyes, Egghead, Empath, Herd Mentality, Scaly Skin, and Speed Demon. I do hope this gives you an idea on how to build into a stealth commando. Again, I do understand every player has their own preferences on what they wish to use. If you enjoyed this video and found this guide helpful or useful, leave a like, comment below, and consider subscribing. This is Doom Guy, Rip and Tear.